All right, popping in for our last segment. Before we jump into this, make sure that you like and subscribe. So we are taking a little bit of turn to talk a little bit of boxing business. We got one of the kind of low-key insiders with my man Boston Jared. Don't forget the S. And we know that PBC has just signed a multi-year deal with Amazon, who is going
Not multi-year, multi. They're giving them several dates. So
several
the
dates. So just okay, several
for
dates.
next,
So it's 14 dates. We want to say that, right?
yeah, they're giving them 14 dates
So they're gonna
for
do that within a year, though. Or I guess it just
yes.
wow.
They've
Oh,
got they've
okay.
got they've got 14, which sounds decent enough at first, but when you look at it, and to be clear for the audience, there wasn't a whole lot of detail in all this shit that's been released. Right. The facts, what we know that PBC has reached some sort of network agreement, some sort of agreement with Amazon. Right. We know that Amazon is going to allow PBC to show fights on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but it's not only fights though. Cause what I'm reading is fights, it's behind the scenes type of coverage, and
Oh
this other
yes,
stuff right there.
the shoulder programming is included in that. Yes, all that's going to be included. What's not being reported and what is being rumored is that Al Haymon is required to provide the funds for all these events. So in the past, where with Fox, with NBC, with Showtime, the new
ESPN.
whoever else he's had network agreements with,
Okay,
they've
okay.
given him money, they've given him a budget, an annual budget. He's not getting that anymore. He's being required to put up his own money. Now, what you'll hear from a lot of YouTube talking heads is that, oh, Al Heyman's got to pay out of pocket. That ain't necessarily true, right? Amazon is saying, hey, we're not paying. Amazon don't give a fuck where the money comes from. They just know that they're not paying. That doesn't mean that Al Haymon can't make some phone calls, can't go out to investors and put up big dollars for fights like Canelo versus David Benavidez next year. The Spence versus Crawford rematch, a Gervonta Tank Davis versus whoever. Pick a fucking guy, right? Doesn't mean that Al Haymon is going to have to take money out of his own personal savings to put these fights up. It just means that Amazon apparently is not going to be putting up the money. They're not going to have a budget like the way ESPN has $100 million plus budget for the year to put on fights. Al Heyman's not going to be getting that. So they have a platform now, which is a big step in the right direction. So they're still homeless, right? They're homeless, but at least they're going to be able to get to move in by March, because that's when the deal it goes into effect, I believe, is March of 2024.
2024. But it also allows them to bring the full range of fighters onto the platform. And then
It does.
Right? Because the issue with DAZN was that they did not want to take on the full stable of PBC, right? Or
That's
the rumor.
That's what was told. That's what was told to me by someone with who's in the know. Somebody with direct placement and access to stuff at DAZN. Yeah, DAZN was not willing to take on PBC's entire stable of 200 plus fighters, right? DAZN has already got agreements with Matchroom, with all their stable of fighters. They've got an agreement with Golden Boy with their stable of fighters. They have an agreement with Lou DiBella, who has a handful of fighters, and various other independent promoters. They don't have the network bandwidth to be able to accommodate what would have been probably close to 500 to 600 fighters over a calendar year. That's a lot of fucking fighters, right? Which brings us back to the next salient point when it comes to this Amazon deal. Unless I'm mistaken, Cam, you have the shit pulled up.
Yeah.
Amazon is only providing them 14 dates for next year. Is that correct? I don't have the article in front of me right now.
So I don't. So I have some reporting from Ricky Glazer, but I'll go ahead and I'll pull that up in a second. But one thing as I do that, could you comment? So do you think that so with I mean, Amazon is kind of like, this might be like an exclusive deal with PBC, but why wouldn't somebody like ESPN be interested, right? So right now they have almost an exclusive relationship with ESPN. Why wouldn't they be interested in bringing on somebody like PBC and their stable of fighters
Who
on
has an exclusive relationship with ESPN?
Top Rank or whatnot?
Top Rank. Yeah. So what I was told was that ESPN is getting out of the boxing business here at the end of the calendar year.
Oh,
End of next year. Once the Top Rank deal expires, ESPN is going to be done with boxing. Now that might change over the next 365 plus days, but what I was told, and again, this isn't anybody that works at the Zone. This is a friend of mine that works at this is a friend of mine that works at the Zone. This wasn't anybody that works at ESPN, but what I was told was that yeah, ESPN is done with boxing end of next calendar year, and that Bob Arum is stepping away once the deal is up at the end of next year, and he is going to hand off the baton of leadership to somebody else over there. If not selling Top Rank outright. So yeah, ESPN not interested in pursuing any more boxing ventures is what's really what it comes down to.
all right. So with that said, and I won't share the screen, but I'll go ahead and read. So this is from Mike Coppinger from ESPN, ironically, and he says that Premier Boxing Champions and Amazon's Prime Video on Thursday announced a multi-year deal to deliver fights on the streaming service beginning in March, as you stated. So 12 to 14 events are expected in the first year between pay-per-view offerings and fights that will be available to Prime Video subscribers, or source told ESPN. PBC fights and pay-per-views were televised by Showtime, but the network, is exiting boxing as we do know. And so basically that just kind of validates what you had talked about. So they're saying between 12 to 14, but and it's going to be a mix between pay-per-view events, and then what they'll have is just kind of regular, not regular, but just
non-pay-per-view.
Non-pay-per-view fights that they'll have for Prime Video subscribers, which is, I think, so I'm just through my Amazon Prime account, I'm able to view Thursday night football and stuff, but that's really the only time that I really turn to them for any sports. And it seems a little bit of a kind of a step down in platforms, but it seems that everybody is going towards the streaming type of kind of viewing experiences at this point right now.
I mean, for live sports, no. I mean, you don't see the NBA running to streaming platforms to stream live sporting events. You don't see the NFL running to, and I know everyone's going to say, oh, Thursday night football. Amazon threw the NFL a shit ton of money to broadcast those Thursday night football events. It was an offer the NFL couldn't refuse. So they said, sure, we'll do Thursday night football. It's extra good for the NFL is good, right? They can do a little experiment and see how NFL on Thursday night does, right? They're still on network television on Monday nights and on Sundays, right? You don't see the NCAA running to any of these streaming platforms. The one exception is international soccer, and UEFA and the Champions League is willing to do streaming only, in my opinion, because of the time difference, right? Everyone's at work when Champions League football is on. So UEFA is willing to cut a deal with Paramount, who gave them an extraordinary amount of money for those Champions League rights, right? All that to say this, what you said, Cam, earlier. This is not some upgrade. This is not some step in the right direction for the sport at large, writ large, or for PBC. This is a huge, huge step backwards for not only PBC and its fighters, but for the sport. This keeps the sport divided, right? Now where we had Showtime, PBC Island on Showtime. Now we have a PBC Island on Amazon Prime. We've still got a Matchroom and DAZN Island. We have a top-ranking ESPN Island, and it's still going to be tough to do cross-promotional fights. This is not a good thing. So that's one. Two, what was the number of dates? It was 14 dates.
They said 12 to 14 dates.
12 to 14 dates starting in March. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 10 months, right? Or even if it's a year, let's say it's a year, you get 12 months for 14 dates. Last time I checked, Al Haymon had in excess of 200 plus fighters. You know, I'm no math whiz.
Yeah.
How the hell are you going to get your fighters active enough? How does that work? You've got 200 plus fighters and you've got 14 dates. How are these guys going to get enough? How are you going to get enough fights in? Even if you did 20 fights per card, right? I don't know what that fucking math is. I'm not a fucking math whiz. 20 times 14, like
yeah.
It's still not gonna work. Like, it's not gonna work. Like this shit is. This is the type of deal where guys like your Tank Davises, your Errol Spences, your Crawfords, your Canelos, your Benavidez's, your Charlos, they're good, right? They're breathing a sigh of relief because they know they're gonna get airtime. But what about your Stephen Fultons? What about your Gary Russells? What about your Erickson Lubins? I mean, pick a guy. Like your Keith Thurmans, your Danny Garcias. How are they gonna? There's not enough space to give these guys dates. There isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there needs to be more dates for them. But I think other fighters that you talked about, I mean, part of them is that they're gonna have to get in the win column, and then then that will allow them to be able to demand some things, particularly. So, but the fighters that are winning and who are putting themselves in a position to have some type of a leverage, then they're the ones that are going to be getting those dates. But there is something to be said about those other fighters who are working their way up, or who are coming off losses or not spectacular performances. They're going to need some opportunities to perform. And it's, whether it's on the undercard of these bigger fights, or I mean, Al Haymon has a bit of a conundrum on his hands right now. So what I want to say is that from what was reported, they said that he had in excess of 150 fighters. So
okay.
So it says launched in 2015, PBC features over 150 active fighters across various weight divisions. And then it talks about David Benavidez and Tank Davis and Errol Spence, and
those guys are good.
Canelo
Those guys will get dates. Those guys will get 2 to 3 fights a year, which is not what Jose Benavidez Sr. wants. I mean, he wants his kid fighting 4 times a year. And I don't know if they've got the network bandwidth for that, man. I just don't know. I mean, you see who's not. You see, Deontay Wilder is not. He cut his own deal. Deontay Wilder's fighting on DAZN in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Very curious. Very curious that a PBC diehard, right? Like Deontay Wilder has found his made his own deal. He's not dealing with Al and this BS anymore. He's not fighting on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So I mean the PBC gangbangers are gonna rejoice and whatever. I mean this is again, like I said, huge step in the wrong direction for the sport and for all those boxers unfortunate enough to be signed to PBC.
Well, yeah, and we want to wait to see what the product looks like, and we'll kind of end on this note. And this is from the X account, formerly Twitter, of Rick Glazer, and he says that looks like Stephen Espinoza has landed on his feet as the fucking weasel. This is his word. Has been hired by Al Haymon to run the production team for PBC's new platform deal with Amazon. Espinoza probably will hire some of his cronies from Showtime that were cut loose when Showtime left boxing and MMA. So one thing that I would say is that I think that at times they have been able to produce a good product. I will say that this is going to be a new arena, and just kind of just streaming platform is something that this kind of new norm that we're going to have to get used to. But I think that Al Haymon is making a smart business decision by realigning himself with Stephen Espinoza, because I thought that Showtime did a good job when it comes to their production value. You have anything that you want to add to that?
No, look, I'm not big on the production value, and I don't.
What?
I tune in to watch 2 fighters fight. Okay, I'm not a big shoulder programming guy. I'm not big on.
You say that, but when what was it when Terrence Crawford would he fight on Black Prime or something like that?
He did. Yeah. I didn't watch that fight live though.
I watched it, and there was I mean it was sufficient, but there was a definite difference in that production value and then what we're kind of used to seeing on Showtime, or even Top Rank, kind of ESPN.
Was better or worse, you saying?
No, I thought it was a little bit worse, to be honest or not. I thought it was just like, but I mean, it's, when you're coming up, and that was literally their first show that they put on. So there's going to be some issues, and particularly you can't, I mean, one thing you can't have a fighter who's boxing and his the stuffing is coming out of his gloves, and and the fight is not stopped and stuff like that. It just it just kind of speaks of this kind of backyard boxing. But
MMA is supposed to be the gold standard. MMA, UFC, Dana White, that is supposed to be the gold standard
value.
That's supposed to be the gold standard. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I'm the guy that walks into Best Buy and you show me like 10 different TVs, and I'm like, I don't see the difference. Why am I paying $10,000 for this TV and this TV costs $1,000 and I don't see a difference? I'm that guy. So I'm not the guy to ask, honestly, when it comes to that production value. I can see it with some shit, but other shit, I just can't. Maybe I just don't care. Maybe it's apathy. I don't know. I want to see the two guys fight. As long as I can watch the best guys fight the best guys, I don't care. I don't care. So I might be the wrong guy to ask, but yeah, this
We'll
is
see though. Yeah, it's coming in March. The first show is gonna be in March.
It'll be Tank versus somebody. It'll be Tank versus
it'll
somebody.
be Tank. Yeah,
Don't be surprised. It'll be Tank versus Isaac Cruz, or Tank versus Isaac Cruz, and Frank Martin versus William Zepeda will be on that undercard. Don't be surprised if that is what they open up with.
I'm kind of boohooing on Frank Martin. He's like he has.
Oh, right. But Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, like, we have that shit. It might be another year before that fight happens. Like, these guys made astronomical amounts of money for their first fight, and they're not going to take pay cuts for a rematch. Terrence Crawford is what, 35 years old?
I mean, that's the thing. These guys are not young. I just don't see what being. I mean, he's a master in that ring, but he says he wants 2 more fights. So
it might be Canelo. Don't be surprised. After David Benavidez beat the shit out of Demetrius Andrade, one of the few people who was celebrating was Terrence Crawford, probably quietly, despite his affiliation with Andre. I know he's cool with Demetrius and those guys. Terrence Crawford's chances for a Canelo fight went up after that, because Canelo versus Jaime Munguia is not a fight that people who make decisions are going to want to cut big checks for, right? Canelo is not in any hurry whatsoever to fight David Benavidez. He's going to try to squeeze one more fight in before he gets obliterated by Benavidez. I would not be surprised if Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez are in negotiations currently. That doesn't mean the fight's going to get made. I would not be surprised if that fight was not in negotiation, because the other fight I heard, what I was told was Jamal Charlo was the leading candidate for Canelo Alvarez's next fight.
Yeah,
Jamal.
I'd be shocked if it was Terrence Crawford or whatnot. Jamal, I could see there's a bit of a backstory, a narrative that you can make, and you can build up to the David Benavidez fight. It's all conjecture, but I'd be shocked if it was Terrence Crawford. Shocked and a little disappointed, to be honest.
Well,
all right.
That's all I got.
Yeah. So it's something for y'all to think about. We want y'all to comment and let us know what you think about the latest partnership between PBC and Amazon Prime.
Hit the like button, guys.
There we go. This is your man, Professor Nims. I'm signing off for Boston Jared.
Peace.
Make sure that you like and subscribe. We are the
and share
of pugilism. Make sure that you share this. And we will see y'all after this weekend when I think your boy Haney gonna put a little job on Progress, but we'll see.
We'll see. Either way, we'll be here. Hopefully, the rest of the pundits will show up as well.
Absolutely. Peace out.
Peace.